Warning. The Dragon Between podcast may contain language and adult humor that is unsuitable for those 13 years and younger. Viewer discretion is advised. You're listening to the Dragon Between podcast, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign that takes place in the Eberron pulp fantasy setting created by Keith Baker. New episodes are recorded every other Sunday and released on the following week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel for clips and future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates and news on the podcast. Thank you for listening, and now on with the show. When the characters last met, they were just finishing off a sneaky aquatic troll that had attacked their ship captain when Ender found himself suddenly attacked by a huge squid-like creature. The group scrambled into action as the beast began to wreck the watercraft, attacking the mast. After a tense battle in which Owry and Red were nearly swallowed by the tentacled terror, Ender dealt the killing blow. The characters assessed the damage to the watercraft and then spent the rest of the evening keeping a watch and shifts. And Eli was able to restore Owry and Ender's memories via a greater restoration spell. The boat continued up the Glum River for several days, and during that time the party accomplished simple tasks and passed the time in their own way. As the boat approached a fork in the waterway, the group discovered that each tributary was clogged with floating debris resembling makeshift dams. Before the dead vegetation could be cleared, a strange bipedal turtle creature called out to the boat, requesting a toll. Not soon after, the request was denied, and the characters were suddenly attacked by a gargantuan creature, blasting Eli and Lithana with a horrible caustic substance. The group were then caught up in a deadly battle with this new threat. This encounter proving nearly fatal for the group as the massive monstrosity first gobbled up Ender, only to regurgitate the samurai. The battle continued, and the creature swallowed Lithana and Red, and snatched Eli up in its pincer tail. The party attacked the creature and again, desperately attempting to save their companions. As the beast began to head back into the river, before it could escape, the artificer Zito destroyed the creature, ruining its body, and sending his companions flying free and safe into the cool river water. There's a bit of a calm over the Glum River, and then the various creatures of the river begin to sound out over the water once again. And you're all left searching around in your various states. I believe that both Lithana and Red had just slithered out of the carcass of this creature. Eli was blasted into the water, and he's breaching up to the surface. Ganima there has crashed the catamaran boat through the barrier, and you all hear the throaty rumble and sound of the elemental engines, and suddenly there's this loud fizzling, popping sound, and the engines go quiet, and you just hear Ganima say, "Well, shit!"
Lithana will slowly stand up, kind of the goo dripping all over her, and hold out the hand to Red. Here, I'll help you up.
Red will take Lithana's hand. This one appreciates it, protector of kin. That was rather gross, wasn't it?
Yes. Is it something the little ones would eat, by chance? She looks over at the Hydra and just kicks it.
It is not something even I would eat. Seems a bit squishy.
sure it tastes good. Where is its dead body right now? Is it along the side of the boat?
The carcass has slid into the water. Ganema is currently freaking out at the rear of the boat, and you just hear the sound of her clanging and banging on metal. The body itself, yes, it's sort of floating. The side of it, which distended out and exploded, where Lithana and Red have emerged from. You can see now it's filling the water with this sort of a oil slick-like substance, which is clouding the water around it, and the body is still floating in the water.
Does this ship have a crane?
None that you can see. This craft doesn't appear to be outfitted for fishing or dredging the river.
Are there ropes nearby?
There are ropes. Usually, Ganema uses them to secure the craft when she docks.
How far away is land from
It's
us?
not that far. You guys are actually not that far away from where that that split in the river was. And as you scan the shoreline, you can see now, in the distance, you can see that bipedal tortle is currently walking towards your craft along the edge of the river.
Is there any possibility that
holds his hand? He's holding his hand up towards all of you and waving.
can I somehow grab some ropes, secure that, wrap up that hydra, and pull it onto land?
You get the sense that because of the size of this creature, with a couple of your companions, you could hopefully or potentially push it towards the shore. And of course, using the ropes would definitely help in that manner. Unfortunately, it appears as though the watercraft, the catamaran boat, has coasted to a stop and is floating dead in the water.
Maybe I have my eyes on the wrong thing right now. Maybe we should be worried about repairing this vessel.
Maybe you should worry about that druid that's heading towards us. I mean, he served this hydra, didn't he?
And as you say that, Zito, now you're hearing the familiar sound of that sort of a stressed, cracked voice that says, so it calls out and echoes across the river. You just hear him say, "Hello! Are you alright? Is anyone injured?"
Zito's gonna look at Red and Latana. Are you two alright?
Lithana pulls out her bow and arrow and aims it at the turtle and says, "No thanks to you."
And Lithana, as you aim your arrow towards the druid, this turtle, suddenly its form just sort of warbles. Not that too dissimilar from what you see when Auri does her wild shape, and it suddenly becomes a large white crane, and it begins gliding. A couple of beats of its wings, woof, woof, and then it glides very gracefully over the water towards the boat as it's dead in the water, and it lists the top of the cabin. And then there's this shimmer once again, and the turtle is now sitting on the edge of the top of the cabin, the roof of the cabin, with his legs dangling over the side. "Oh, that's better. Hello."
I can still hit you from here.
Yes, child, I know. I apologize for earlier. I'm afraid that I have been forbidden to interfere. But it appears that you have ended him, and my service is at an end.
Are we shouting at this guy right now? Like,
Oh no,
far
he's
away?
he's sitting up on the boat right now, right, just to the left of the top of where Ganema's wheelhouse it is. He's just sitting there with his legs dangling over the side, and he's staring at each of you. You can see now that he has like a grass skirt, like it's like a cloak made of kelp or weeds that's been woven together, and he has like these chunks of what appear to be fungus that are growing out of his shell on one side of his neck, and this sort of like a weird configuration. It's like a creamy white colored mushrooms, and he just sort of reaches up and grabs one of them and pulls it out and looks at it and starts to munch on it. Oh, are you injured? And he begins scanning each of you now, just sort of taking each of you in.
I guess at this point, I'm also going to look down at my body to see if I'm injured, and by that I mean look at my character sheet. 'Cause I don't remember if I was injured. No, I'm fine.
I think that the only members of the group that were really that injured were Red and Lithana. I think the rest of you were pretty okay.
How much
Lithana
damage do you both think?
Lithana is looking rough. First from being burnt by stomach acid. Not once, but twice. And of course, Red also, she got burnt severely by the stomach acid as well.
Oh yes, I'm injured. My 2 points of damage. Please heal me. I'm really hurt. Ow. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm good.
Eli's so tempted to just shove Eli into the water. I think Eli was tempted. Lathana was tempted.
Eli is tempted to shove himself in the water.
I'm going to approach the turtle with my hand on my sword and ask him. And you, turtle, why were you his slave? What's your story?
Well, I was a keeper. A member of his order. I am the last of the druids of the Crooked Horn. We are keepers of gatekeeper tradition in this area. My druids and I and our wardens keep a cave nearby where many of the items that belong to the Abbot Mother are stored. Raxul, the horrible, sadly mutilated creature before you, was once a black dragon. But he disappeared for a while and returned in this horrible abomination. Raxul the Crooked, as we called him, because his horns were crooked. Kind of funny. Oh, if not for the circumstances, I'd laugh more.
Can you lead us to this cave?
Do you require a place to stay? I see that apparently your craft is damaged. I apologize for that. I can offer you shelter if needed. There's no one else in the cavern except for myself and the wardens.
Are you gonna send any more kept monsters against us?
I have no intentions of attacking you, young sir. Raxul and his transformed form was driven mad, you see. Raved about these illithids. Took him and transformed him into this ruinous form you see before you. All of his disciples, my brethren, fled in terror when he returned. Those who stayed behind and did not serve him were devoured. I pledged myself to avoid being eaten and abide my time in hopes that one day I might find a way to return him back to his former self, but it was impossible. And as I now see, this is the only outcome that could have possibly happened. And the creature that you see before you, I will share an image of. It does not look too dissimilar from this image here. It's a bipedal, tortoise-like creature. And he looks kind of funny sitting up on the, propped up on top of the cabin with his big, chunky legs hanging over, dangling over the side.
How long was Vexul in this state before he died?
Oh, quite some time. Months? Yes? Weeks? No, months. Yeah, fine. Time is funny when you're under the rule of a mad creature. I know not how Rexul became this thing, other than the ramblings. Speaking of creatures called illithids and some sort of large craft that resembled a long cephalopod, which are not native to these waters.
What do you two have to say about this, Ender and Ari? We just took 2 leptids out of your heads.
I know the place in which they put those things in your head. It is some kind of living ship that is underwater.
I don't mean to interrupt, but would it be possible I could call upon you to help me move Rexul to shore?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Red. You look like you can swim. I'm gonna toss her. Follow me, and I'm gonna jump into the water and start tying up the creature.
Okay. And as you begin doing that, you hear this strange stretching noise as the turtle has now slid down from the top of the cabin, the rooftop, and he's clump onto the deck. And he now takes his staff and knocks it a couple of times onto the surface of the boat, and these vines begin springing forth from it and wrap around the body, and just sort of like an additional fastening in addition to the ropes that you're using.
Oh, cool, he's helping tie it up.
Okay. And what are the rest
All
of
right.
you doing during this time?
I'm supervising.
Okay, Zito is supervising.
Ed, are you assisting me?
Yes.
I was with the children, so I'll still be watching over them.
What about you, Eli?
I want to go assess the damage of the boat.
Okay. As Eli wanders back to the rear of the vessel, what about you, Lithana?
Lithana is helping, but if she can, she would like to stealthily take out one of her knives and chip away at some of the skin of it and take it as a prize.
Okay. If you're trying to do that stealthily, you just need to make a sleight of hand check.
You know, if this was a Hrr'aak, you'd basically be get 2 Hrr'aaks.
So you all watch as Lafana is clumsily fumbling with her knife, trying to peel back one of the scales from this crocodilian body. And like you just hear her whisper something foul in Elven and nearly drop her knife in the water. But you are able to get the scale. It's about the size of your fist. And it reeks. Like once you peel it back, it almost seems as though the body is starting to dissolve. Like it's already reeks of decomposition.
Okay. I will pocket it and ask Eli to cast prestidigitation later.
Okay. Eli, as you wander to the rear of the vessel, you see Ghanima is got some sort of a tool set out, and she's currently got a panel open on one of the engines. What you can see is as a plume of oily black smoke is coming out of.
Is the boat all right?
And Ghanima looks back at you and wipes some grime and sweat off of her face, and just seems to add more grime to her face, which was already on the back of her hand. And you just hear her just like chuckles. No. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, my friends. If there's something that you need to take care of presently, I would recommend that you do so. This is going to take me a while. I can't exactly give you a time frame, but I'm afraid our ship is dead in the water, so to speak. I'm going to have to drop anchor and get to the shore and see what I can do about it.
We're not sinking, are we?
Oh, I don't think so. And she starts to look around, and the boat itself it's pretty wrecked. Like there are areas of the deck that are just completely chunks of it ripped off from the weight of this creature and its claws digging into it as it scrambled over it. The mast, which was healed previously from your encounter with that giant squid, is sort of listing to the side, and as you look around, you suddenly hear a creaking as the mast breaks in half and lands and lifts over one side of the boat into the water. And you just hear Ghanima say, "Wonderful! Alright, well I guess I'll be looking for a tree then."
Yeah, I'll leave you to it. I'll let the others know.
Thank you. And Eli wanders back to the front of the boat.
We'll be here for a while.
You can see now that your companions have already nearly got the corpse of this creature up onto the shore of the riverbank. And the turtle man who's right on the edge of the front of the craft, he's been holding out his staff over, and you can see tendrils of green with leaves sprouting from them that are stretched out. And it's almost like he's willing these vines to assist in pushing this thing up onto the shore with Red and Ender's assistance. And after you get the body up onto the shore, the creature looks and says, "Well, my manners, I'm sorry. I haven't even introduced myself. I apologize." And he looks at each of you. Whoever is closest to him, he holds out a meaty turtle paw and says, "My name is Hrr'aak En'roll."
Clever.
And do you give him your names?
I think I'm in the water with his old friend. So.
I'm Eli. Nice to meet you.
At this point, the body is up on the shore of the riverbank, and I assume that you and Red have got out of the water and are shaking your waterlogged boots, so to speak, to try and get the water out of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And Hrr'aak now produces what appears to be some sort of a whistle, and it appears to be made out of bone. And he nods at you, Eli, doesn't say anything. He just nods at you when you say your name, and he blows on it, this shrill whistling noise. And in the distance, beyond the tree line, you can all hear the sound of this crackling, crunching sound, and sound of stone on stone, as emerging from the tree cover, you see these large creatures that appear to be formed from stone that begin to lumber towards the edge of the river, the bank. And Hrr'aak is now speaking to them in some sort of a language. And do any of you speak? Well, you know what? I'll just change it and I'll see if you understand it. Looks like no one understood that.
Nope.
It's this very strange vowel sounds. It's a gravelly, throaty language, and you all watch as these elemental creatures that appear to be made out of the muck and the stone from the very earth of the marches now each grab part of this corpse and they begin lifting it up over their heads, this gargantuan body. With this impossible strength, they begin to carry it one after another in a single file line through the tree cover until the body is gone. And Hrr'aak looks back to each of you and says, "Well, if you would like to tend to your wounds and have a sit, you can follow me. My offer still stands to offer some place for you to rest, at least out of the biting flies and the critters."
Where did they take the body?
Oh, they're taking it to be prepared, so we can give Rexhool the proper send-off. It'll take some time. We probably won't do it today. And if so, maybe this evening. Maybe tomorrow morning. I'm sure I couldn't possibly bother any of you to assist in that manner. We can take care of it ourselves. But please, follow me. And he now begins clumping down the edge of the riverbank, back towards that split in the river, where you all saw this rising of stone jutting up out of the river, right in the edge of that split, the ford in the middle of where each tributary went towards the northeast and the northwest.
Zudo will follow him.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
I will definitely, yeah. And I'm sure Anna's currently using the restroom. She's probably going to stay with the kids.
Okay. Staying on the boat, or did you guys want to bring the kids with as well? Off of the boat.
I will go get the kid. Red will go get the kids.
Okay.
And Ari. I'll carry all three of them.
All right. Othana, are you going as well?
Yeah, Lathana will go.
Eli is following too.
Okay. Single file line, you all... Doesn't take that long to get back to that place. It's a bit of a rising of a mound on the edge of the shore, and this rocky formation that just sort of sticks out, almost like a finger, sticking straight out at a bit of an angle. And atop it, you saw that straw hut from before. And as you begin to get closer to it, the turtle man now calls out once again in that strange language, and you all hear and feel a vibration in the ground as a much bigger elemental now begins to stand up, seemingly lifting itself up out of this hole in this rock formation, and is now wearing the hut as a hat. And the Hrr'aak, "Thank you, friend. Please follow me." And he gestures now to a spiral staircase that seems to descend down into the earth.
Zito's gonna cast Detect Thoughts on the tortle.
Okay. How's that work?
It's here for a duration of 1 minute. Let's see. I can focus on his mind, read his surface thoughts, and I can dig deeper, but he has to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. His surface thoughts at the moment seem to be that of remorse. He's repeating to himself, I have failed you, Ebon Mother. I have failed you. And he also says, I failed your son. And he also seems to be conveying thoughts of gratitude for you all ending this creature.
Alright, well, since I don't see any ill will, I'm gonna start to head towards the staircase.
Okay.
I think we can trust this. I assume it's a man. Or turtle.
You're not sure what the tortle identifies itself as.
We can trust the druid.
It's just a turtle.
Okay. It doesn't take too long, but you're all able to go down these rough-hewn steps. Occasionally, Hrr'aak directs each of you, "Watch your head!" As you can see, the staircase at first spiraled and then began to curve at different angles that way and this way and that way. And the roof of this cave at different intervals seems to get a little lower. And eventually, you all, after heading down for several minutes down this stair, you finally see it open up into a much larger cavern. And the cavern itself seems to stretch on for a great bit into the darkness. And you can see what appear to be mushrooms the size of small trees, which grow up at various intervals close to one side of the cavern wall. And you can see in another corner of the cavern, you can see a hole of which there is a little bit of sunlight, which seems to be streaming in from an area somewhere on the surface that none of you notice, that appears to be illuminating a spot in this section of the cave. And you can see a kit which is set up with a couple of makeshift stools, and there is a fire going. And as you are getting your bearings within this place and your eyes are adjusting to the dimmer light, for those of you who need to adjust, you can see amongst the mushroom trees, you can see smaller mushrooms which appear to be moving. And as you look at them, you can see now what appears to be bipedal fungus that are milling around in the distance.
Are they the same that I think they are, that we've seen on the ship?
Orlin.
They do seem to resemble Auri's little ward, Sporlin.
Not again.
And Hrr'aak now has hunkered down in front of the fire and is just sort of squatting there. And he takes something out of his pouch and he begins to assemble some sort of a holder so that he can hang a kettle over the fire. And he looks at you and says, "Are any of you hungry or thirsty?" And he gestures over into the distance. He says, "There's fresh water that is fed from the river off in that direction." And he appears to be pointing what you think is somewhere to the northeast, off into one of the curving sections that lead off from this cavern chamber.
I will go get water.
Okay.
Are your people able to take a bath there by chance?
Oh, sure. I wouldn't take a bath in the watering hole, if you will. There are other sections in the cavern the grove, that have places that are more suitable for that. And he makes a clicking noise, almost like he's snapping together his beaky mouth. And as he does so, 3 or so of these mushroom people begin to come forth, and one of them is gesturing out with a hand as if to lead you towards that part of the cavern.
As she said, following, anyone want to join me for the bath? I'm sure it'd be refreshing. I haven't had one in a while.
Red will follow after Lithana. This one smells very unfortunate and licks her spur a little bit. Ugh.
I'll follow also,
Hey.
bringing
Pretty
the children. Because they don't smell good either.
Yeah, they're probably have soiled themselves at this point, I would say. Several times.
After the seeing giant hydra, and I'm an adult one too.
As you all begin to head off in that direction, Hrr'aak calls out after you and he says, I would advise not drinking that water unless you want to be up all night pooping.
Lithana giggles and says, "Okay, duly noted."
And he calls out again, "That water, no drink!" As you can just hear it echoing through the cavern as you get further away from that section of the cavern. And you are all led towards this place where it almost seems like the cavern has been this little antechamber off the main chamber. There's just this deep body of water, fairly large. I'd say it's about the size of like a lap pool, and you can see now that there is a trickle of water that comes in from the ceiling above, and you can see where the natural formation of this water is spraying, sort of a little bit of like a waterfall, which is coming down. It's not a heavy flow at this moment, but it seems to feed this area. And the water has a feeling to it when you begin to slip into it. It makes your skin soft almost immediately, like there's minerals in it.
This is lovely.
Yes, nice bath. Leave
Did you
it.
did you go as well, Ender?
Is that your journey?
This is bads. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that theme, but he's always in the shower in this game.
Ender and water sports. What is up with that?
Eli went too, but he won't get in. He'll just read.
Okay.
But he wants to stay with the party to make sure everyone's safe and he's safe.
The Myconids are now assisting you with removing your apparel if you were planning on removing all of your apparel. There isn't really an area designated here that appears to be for privacy. So if you're all planning to take a dip, you can take it in shifts, or do you all just sort of jump in cannonball style out of your skivvies?
Yeah,
Red has no modesty.
Japanese bathhouse style. We're all going in.
Okay. As you all do so, another Myconid now comes forth, and he's carrying some sort of a barrel under his arm, and he opens the end of the barrel, and these smoking hot rocks begin falling into the water. And as they do, you hear this sizzling sound as they plop into the water, and the water immediately begins to get warmer. And fairly soon, it has the temperature of a very comfortable, warm bath.
Lithana will go over to where Eli is sitting. And she's going to be like, "Hey Eli, what are you reading? Can you show me?"
Yes, I'm reading this, and he hands it to her.
Oh, this is very interesting. And with that, she's going to take Eli's hand and pull him straight into the water and put the book on the side.
Oh, well, this would be a strength versus dex, I think. Or no, we'll make this strength versus strength. I need both of you to make contested strength checks.
Wait, wouldn't it be... Well, let's...
Oh!
as you reach to grab Eli's arm and pull him into the water, he actually starts to lift you up out of the water. Are you completely unclothed?
He's wearing, like, an undershirt, but...
Okay. Eli, you get a look at Lithana that is unlike any look you've ever seen before. You're seeing more of her than you have ever seen. As her
mouth drops.
And do you let go of his arm?
No.
Or do you continue to try and pull him in?
Pull him in.
Okay. Make another strength check. Contested, please. And
Oh my gosh.
make yours with disadvantage, Eli.
Oh man.
So 6.
So you're all
Guy.
you're all watching as these two are trying to. They're having a tug of war at the edge of this water feature, and you just see them just sort of grunting, trying to pull each... Eli is desperately trying to keep himself from falling into the water and dropping his belongings and his book that he's reading into the water. And Lithana just doesn't seem to care. She wants him in the water with the rest of the group.
Red will see this going on, and she'll be like, is Ari with us in here? Who else is in here with us? Is it just the three of us?
I'm here.
I'll look to Ari. What is the magic one doing to the protector of Ken? This one must help. And she's gonna freaking barrel her way over there as fast as possible to try and get him.
Oh no, Red, it's a joke. It's a joke.
All right. What are you doing, Red?
I'm gonna try and like freaking fling him as far into the water as I can away from Lithana.
Okay, well, you're sort of treading water. At the place where Eli is standing is sort of like a bit of an overhang. You can still reach him, so if you wanted to reach out and try to pull him in as well, you could. That'll be your strength versus his strength.
Okay.
I would say you get
Wait.
advantage since
Rage.
Since Lathana is still holding on.
Rage.
Would you like to rage?
That's
Okay. Would you?
Is she raging?
Eli, roll a strength check.
I don't even think you could. There's no way to beat that.
Sploosh. Eli, ass over tea kettle, does a forward somersault into the water as you both pull him in, and he is now sputtering as all of his clothing is now soaking wet once again.
and I grabbed Lathana's arms.
It was already damp.
Did the magic man
river.
hurt you? This one can do much worse.
Lathana just burst out laughing, and she said, "Thanks for helping me."
I just kind of like throw a little glare towards Eli as he's sputtering. Ugh, magic men, the worst.
And at this point, as this is going on, you hear a chuckling coming from the tortle druid Hrr'aak, who is sort of sauntered up as this was going on. You could hear it from the other chamber, and he says, "Oh well, I hope you don't mind if I join you. Cannonball!" And he just breaks out into a run and leaps in to the center of the pool, pulling his head and arms and legs into his shell, and boom! Creates this huge wave of water out from it as he impacts the water. I need Eli, Lathana, and Red to make dexterity saving throws.
$22.
Good lord. Where was that 22 earlier?
I know, right?
So you have you all see and anticipate this and throw your hands up, your arms up to block the wave of the splash from hitting you in the face of this mineral water. And Hrr'aak is now, his head pokes out of his shell. His shell is buoyant apparently in the water, and he just sort of laughs, starts throaty chuckle. Oh, this is good. I haven't laughed like this in ages. So, what are you all doing out here? What brings you to this neck of the woods, so to speak?
Oh, well, that would be our friend Ender, and she motions over to Ender.
The half-orc.
Real quick, what is the name of the guy that we're going after again? Or not, the name of the rebel group? I had this written down in my notes, however, I don't see them anywhere. On my character
Zaduk's
sheet.
Bane.
Zaduk, right.
Zaduk's Bane.
Zaduk's Bane. Alright. I will then answer him. We are here on behalf of Zaduk.
The Shogun. Curious. Why? And you can see now he's just sort of like scrubbing his underarm with the water. And he's got a little bit of moss that he found somewhere, and he's just using it to scrub his underarm.
Well, I'm no longer having fun, so I'm going to get out of the water, dry off. And I'm going to say, I'm here looking for a mercenary group, a rebellious group.
Oh? It's funny. A few months ago we had some folk come through that were doing the same. Unfortunately, they ran afoul of Rexul. I did my best to save the gnome, but I'm afraid she didn't survive.
That's unfortunate to hear. I suppose we almost fell to the same fate. Do you have any information that could help me?
Well, I assume that if you're looking for the same folk that one was, then perhaps her belongings might help you. Rexul took them to the vault.
Where's the vault?
Oh, it's that ways, the rear of the cavern. It's a bit of a hike. And he's now stopped washing himself, and he is pulling himself to the side of this water feature that he's able to pull himself out easily. And he's now standing next to you, Ender, just sort of regarding you, and he looks to you. He says, "Afraid I can't offer you a towel."
I'm gonna look to my group, and I'm gonna ask them if they're up for a hike.
Sure, I'll go, Ender.
The vault, you say, is... You said Black Dragon earlier. Is that his lair?
Well, the grove of the Ebon Mother, and he gestures out with his meaty tortle paw towards the cavern. This is the grove of the Ebon Mother, Rexul's home. He was charged with protecting belongings of the Ebon Mother long ago, even before I became into service as a druid of the Crooked Hoard. The vault is a special place, hidden away from the greedy people that would attempt to lay their hands on the Ebon Mother's belongings. But I'm sure you folk are not like that.
Zudo looks to Eli.
I'd be happy to assist you in heading back there to the vault. I must warn you, though, it's a bit jarring, the experience of entering the vault.
What do you mean?
Well, let's just say it takes you from one plane of existence to another. A nexus, if you will. A connecting point to others. It was
Oh no, another one of these.
It was built long ago. The gatekeepers constructed it.
Who were the gatekeepers?
The gatekeepers are the saviors of this realm. They're responsible for raising this nation up out of the muck and the mud and the swamps and making a civilization out of it. They are one of the highest of the druidic orders in all of the land. It is a great honor to be an offshoot, if you will, of them.
It does sound like quite an honor.
And of course, you have all heard of the gatekeepers as this sect of druids. Most of them consist of orcs. And there have been, at any one time, any one of you, without needing to roll in a history check, would know the legend of how the gatekeepers saved this world from the horrors of Zoriat, the realm of madness. And that they did so by creating these sigils to seal away, these dimensional seals to seal away that realm from this one. And at this point, Hrr'aak has essentially started to saunter off, presumably to grab his belongings. And he calls back to you. Did you want to have a rest before you go? Some of you look a bit peaked.
This one needs a good cat nap.
Okay. Do each of you wish to take a short rest?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Wasn't it pretty late?
No, it
We
was,
got attacked?
it was like noon when you guys got attacked. So yeah, if you would like to take a short rest, you can. If you wish to head out now.
I think we should take a short rest.
Alright. Well, I will go ahead and mark you all as taking a short rest. You may spend as many of your hit die as you wish to heal up. And after taking about an hour to finish cleaning yourselves up and drying off and getting your gear back on, Hrr'aak comes back to you all and he begins to lead you deeper into this cave system.
Yeah, we're following, right? Together as a group. Into the what could be a freaking dungeon that Jeremy is going to send us into now.
No, I still have the children with me too.
Yeah, what are you guys doing with the children? Are you taking them with you?
No! What am I
We
supposed
should
to
have
do?
ate them by now. If this was a real party, the kids would have been.
Put on a spit? Turn into barbecue?
That's right. That's right.
That is so mean.
Red would
Horrible.
probably go up to Hrr'aak, taking the babies with her. This one is worried for the well-being of the children. They have seen too much battle for their young lives. Could your strange mushroom people protect them while we journey to and from this vault?
Sure! Absolutely! The Myconids would be absolutely pleased to help you. Did you want to leave that sprout with you as well? And he now gestures to Sporlin, who has been essentially been holding back Auri's hair as she's been washing, and he's been wringing out the end of her hair to get all the water out of it. And now he's essentially just sort of sitting on her head like a hat.
Cute.
Yes.
I'm sure that they'll take your little one off your hands as well. We'll watch after them while we make our trek deeper into the cave.
At this point, I would scruff both of the kids and hold them in front of my face. This one is going to tell you once. You don't eat the mushroom people. You don't venture around these spooky caves. You can swim, that is all. If this one comes back and you've not listened, this one will put you out in the rain all night. And I hand them to the mushrooms.
One of the Myconids, appears to be a much bigger one, reaches out and grabs both of them and is now cradling them in both arms. Auri, are you leaving Sporlin behind?
I'm gonna ask him if he wants to stay with me or stay with them.
You get a sense from his pheromone release, the spores that he releases to communicate with you, that he is conflicted. Like, he sees these individuals, these Myconids, as strangers, and he doesn't really want to leave you. He just keeps saying over and over again in your head. He just keeps saying, "Mother, no."
I would come back. You would just stay here and help protect the kids. But if you want to stay with me, be careful.
He seems to really want to go with you, but it is up to you. He seems to convey to you that he will go by your lead.
I'm gonna let him stay with me
Okay.
if that's
Okay.
what he. Yeah.
Sure. He begrudgingly crawls down your head, down your neck, off of your arm as you gesture over towards the other myconid that appears to be sort of taken aback that you're offering this strange sprout to it. But then it also takes Sporlin, and Sporlin is now on top of the younger female child's head, and it is turning into a little bit of like a hat as it spreads its arms and legs out in this sort of a lattice work around the baby's head. And the baby just sort of shakes her head back and forth and is like trying to pull playfully at Sporlin. And you just see Sporlin is just sort of, with one hand, is just sort of pushing the baby's arm away as it's trying to like pull Sporlin's arm off. And then you just watch Sporlin go BAP! And smacks the baby, and the baby starts crying. And you just see Sporlin just sort of gestures with one of its hand, like it almost looks like it's shaking its finger at the baby. And I forget, what were the names of the babies again?
Daisy and
Indy.
And Indy, yes.
Okay, Daisy and Indy. Daisy is starts to cry a little bit, but as she does, the myconid, the larger one, just sort of starts to rock her, and she quiets almost immediately. And Hrr'aak now off in the distance, heading into the opening of another section, an offshoot area of the cavern, says, "Are you coming?"
Yes, I'm coming.
Okay. So it takes a while. It's a long trek. The cavern becomes narrow to this place. It appears to be a naturally formed fissure that you're walking along. As you look, it seems to go deeper. This almost like a trench. And again, you have areas where the roof, or the ceiling, if you will, of the cavern sort of bowed down a bit, or it's not completely a straight line. It curves this way and that way. Sometimes you're going down, sometimes you're moving upwards and climbing up. But eventually over the course of about an hour, you make your way into this chamber, which opens up. And just off, you're not exactly sure of direction at this point, but on one side of the chamber you can see a very large pool of water. And Hrr'aak looks to you and says, "That leads out to the river. Pretty spooky, no lights." And he then turns and gestures with one arm holding his staff and thumps it on the floor of the cavern and gestures towards this platform, this dais. And either side of the platform you see these enormous columns that appear to have been formed from the cave itself, like stalagmite and stalactite joining the top and the bottom. And you can see where it's been carved into the image of a dragon, each one of them not too dissimilar from one another. And at that point, would you all like to take a quick break?
Quick question about the dragon statues. Are they a certain color?
Well, it's the color of the cavern, the color of the stone.
Okay. I see. So they're just wondering if maybe perhaps there are two other crazy, insane dragons in this tunnel, in this cave, complex, whatever it is. Yes, I'm ready for a break.
Okay, if you would all like to take a break, you may do so. We'll come back and we will continue.
Sounds good. Loving the cave vibes, Jeremy, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, walking us into
inspo.
a dungeon.
Aw. Thank you. I was inspired by my trip to Tennessee.
But it's like a really beautiful dungeon.
Nice, we'll have good funerals.
Who said anything about a dungeon? So Hrr'aak has now led you to this cavern. There doesn't appear to be, other than that water source, there doesn't appear to be any other areas that lead off from this cavern. It only seems to be one way in, one way out. The pathway that you took to get here from the Grove of the Ebon Mother. And Hrr'aak now gestures towards the platform and says, "There it is! The entrance! Rexul's vault!" That is where you'll find the belongings of the gnome that fell.
Are the belongings of the other travelers in there as well?
I would assume so. The vault was a collection of wealth that once belonged to the Black Dragon Hrr'aak, also known as the Scaled Apostate, also known as the Ebon Mother. It is a shrine to the ancient dragon. I must warn you, it has been some time since I have entered the vault. The druids of the Crooked Horn were forbidden from entering the vault. But I understand your curiosity may override common sense. And as he says that, he now steps forth and places his hand on one of the these stalactite / stalagmite structures, and he begins to press in on the surface of the stone, and as he does so, you can see the strange light blue sigil that seems to spiral out from on the stonework from his palm and lights up into a rune. And as that happens on the other one, you can see an identical sigil lights up. And as he does so, there's a sudden agitation in the air within the cavern, and this brilliant silvery aperture appears floating on the dais, the surface of which is rippling. It looks like water, but it's a silvery color. Do you wish to go in?
I will lead. Yes.
Okay. So, Ender, you're going in first. Let me get the party order going here. Alright. What about the rest of you?
I'll go
Red
in
will-
after Ender.
Okay.
Red will follow behind Zito.
Alright.
I'll take up the rear.
Take up the rear. Alright.
Lithana would be next to Ari.
Alright. And that'll be Eli towards the middle almost.
Yeah, but he'll be between Ari and Lithana. He don't get near Red.
Okay. Alright. So I'll put you just before the rear, just in front of Ari. Alright. Do you all head in?
I think
May I
that
head in?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I do.
As you enter, as you get closer to this this strange, rippling, silvery, brilliantly lit hole in reality, and as you touch the surface of which, it feels cool to the touch, and you feel sort of fuddy, like so a little fuzzy. And one by one, you all pass through.
Yes.
If it doesn't sinister, yes.
Okay.
If fuzzy, you don't mean burning and agony, right?
No, this feels more like somebody came up behind you and blew like bubbles at your neck. It's like a tickling sensation.
That's a very familiar feeling. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. It happens to
Okay.
me every day. Yes, I go through.
Okay.
What do I see on the other side? Tell me.
Okay, so each of you pass through the opening, the aperture, and Auri, before you are completely submerged into the opening, you hear Hrr'aak call out, "Oh, I forgot to tell you the combination for the other side of the..." And you pass through the other side.
Can I go back to hear him, or like take a step back to?
Auri, as you pass through, it feels like you're entering water. You're feeling a little bit almost weightless. You still have some weight to you, but you can see all of your companions in front of you. And there's this long hallway, and the walls of which, looking to the left and to the right and the ceiling, are somewhat transparent. And beyond them, you can just see an expanse of what looks like stars and constellations. And as you turn to look behind you, you can see a closed circular door, which is covered in 5 rotating sections, and at the very center of which is a configuration of 3 different types of dragon shard, which are merged into a sphere at the center. And you're all just sort of you all feel that feeling of somewhat weightlessness, but you all settle onto this series of stairs, which are very large. Each set of stair is 5 feet, a 5-foot drop to the next descending step. But as you settle onto them, you don't feel a fear that you're going to fall over the edge of one of these wide steps. And off in the distance, Ender, you can see that this tunnel, if you will, seems to end into an opening, an archway, and there is light, a source of light which is coming through. There is no source of light in this tunnel leading ahead. It's almost like a focal point, drawing your focus, your attention to it. And you can see sort of a hazy shape above and below the archway. This sort of almost like a seashell, like 2 sides of a seashell that are being held slightly apart from each other. Or like a hamburger bun with no burger in the middle.
That's what I'm seeing.
Should we... She looks back at the wall. Should we just figure it out when we get back? And hope there's not like some black dragon chasing us?
I suppose we'll wing this as we go.
The air here feels a little heavier than what you breathe when you were back in the cavern. But it doesn't feel uncomfortable. You just feel a little lighter, like your whole body feels lighter. And every time you move your hand, you almost see sort of like a trail-like effect coming off of it as you study your hand.
Well, lead on, brave Ender.
Do you wish to push forth towards the source of the light?
I do, but I'm curious more about this. I guess you could call it archway hamburger. You said it's a misty light that's on the top and the bottom of this archway? A shadowy figure, or?
At the bottom of the stairs, there's an archway which a light source is coming from beyond the archway, which is illuminating into this long hallway of transparent walls up the stairwell up towards where you are, and you can see through the walls as if there's no wall there supporting the archway, and that's where you see these two slightly concave shapes above and below. And as you
let me take a closer look to
study,
it.
you're going to approach it. As you study that, Ender, and you get a little closer, you start to see something else. It appears...
I have my hand on my weapon.
Instead of walls around this thing, whatever this possible chamber is a slowly spinning polyhedral lattice-like Dyson sphere that appears to be the walls around these two shapes that are above and below the archway at the end of the stair. And it's very slow bit of movement you watch as it seems to have a few different layers that are slowly spinning in different directions. However, there doesn't appear to be anything at the archway, like a doorway. That spinning sphere doesn't appear to be blocking the opening into whatever this place is.
Well, I'm going to approach it, and though I do not understand very well of what you are describing, I assume that when I walk through that archway, that I'm not just misunderstanding something and walking into danger. Alright, I'm going to push forward.
Okay. Ender continues down the stairs. It's like you're on the moon. Like each time you step off of one of the stairs, you just sort of have a little bit of a spring in your step. You rest on the next stair as you're going down. It's a weird sensation because it feels like you're walking straight, but you're going down. And the perspective seems to shift and adjust as you get further down the stair. Do the rest of you follow?
I'll follow in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. One by one, you each begin to, this strange sensation of almost weightlessness, begin to head down the stair. And as you get closer to the end of the stair where the archway begins, and you pass through, you can see that the archway terminates and opens up into a chamber that has a stepped floor at different levels that seem to go down. Your perspective looking straight ahead and down, and then looking up, that top hamburger bun, it seems like a mirror image where there are steps going upward towards almost like a pyramidal shape heading up towards a ceiling, and you can see very large glowing celestial objects that resemble stars that are floating like suns orbiting at the ceiling. And you can see various if looking straight up, you can see various bookshelves and tables and chests strewn above, floating above you all. And then down below, looking straight ahead, you can see at the direct center, at the middle, you can see a podium which has a bit of a light illuminating a floating book at the center of this chamber. And looking around you, you can see at the various stepped levels, you can just see a treasure trove of coins scattered everywhere on this level. And standing just behind the podium, you see an individual who is wearing a long flowing cape, and the cape is covering one half of its body, and you can see that it was reading a book as you all began to step into the chamber.
I will call out to the figure
Okay.
and approach it.
As you get closer, Ender, you can see now this individual has a very pronounced brow, some horny protrusions on either side arcing out from the brow, and his ears, instead of ears, he has what appear to be bat-like wings that are flexing. Like one of them seems to be scratching the side of its head and then flexes out and then just rests on the side of it. It's wearing a pair of spectacles, very velvety outfit, and he's wearing a big thick leather belt with a series of books that are suspended with leather straps. His skin is sort of a mottled red, and he has a very pronounced chin. He's not wearing shoes, and his legs are sort of similar to that of, say, a goat or a dog. And its feet have talons that protrude out, and he's tapping one of them. You can see on each of the talons he has a series of very gaudy looking rings with gemstones in it. And he has the big flowing silvery blue cape, which is flowing over his left arm. And you don't even see his left arm. The cape just completely swallows it. And with his right hand, he's sitting there, he's looking at a book. And he looks up at you and takes his pinky talon and pushes his spectacles up his nose, and he says, "Well then, visitors, what a treat. Please, come in. Have a seat." And as he says that, you can all see now that on this bottom level, these crystalline chairs begin to form out of nothing. Particles begin to coalesce and come together and create these very elaborate, lattice-like, outdoor-style chairs that are made completely of crystal. And these very soft-looking cushions form on the seating area. Welcome, my friends. How can I assist you today?
Can you tell us who you are?
Yes, I am the caretaker of this place. I watch over the collection for Rexul. How can I assist you?
We are looking for the belongings of a gnome who's seems to have passed away, and seems to have collected her belongings.
Oh, interesting. I do believe there was a pack belonging to someone that you described. It was brought here a while ago. It's somewhere up there, and he gestures with his hand, still holding the book, up towards the ceiling, which appears to be in the shape of like a reverse stepped pyramid. And you can see like just armor and swords and racks of armor and chests and bookshelves, and you can see many of the bookshelves are stocked with like scrolls, long scroll tubes which are just sticking out haphazardly on the shelves. I'm sure it's up there. If that's what you're here for, that's all you're here for? Interesting. Very interesting.
That's all I'm interested in.
Well, my friend, feel free. This place is a bit funny. If you wish to go up there, all you have to do is will yourself, and you'll be there. Imagine going towards that place, and you will do so. And he goes, like this. And you watch as he begins to float upwards towards that topmost section, and then he just sort of comes to a rest. The cape flowing out is dropped down several feet below his floating form up there now. And he's continuing to look at his book. Just seems to be completely nonplussed about your presence in this place.
Zid'll give it a try. He'll imagine himself walking towards the pack where
Okay.
this creature that was located.
All right. So you all watch as suddenly Zito begins to lift up off of the ground, his feet kicking, and he goes straight up to that section. And what are the rest of you doing?
And Nathan, I would imagine she's on Humphrey. And also float up.
Okay. A Humphrey doesn't materialize beneath you, but you also are able to will yourself up there just by thinking about going up there. You're able to rise up above the floor with very little effort. It's like you're down below and then you're up there within a matter of moments. It's not unlike flying. It's almost as if this is just a new ability that just happened to manifest when you entered this place.
I'm gonna follow them. I'm gonna go up too.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
Ender's shaking his head, no way.
You're staying down where... You're gonna stay on the ground where all the coins are?
Oh, that's where all the coins are?
Yeah, the coins are on the lower half of the hamburger bun. You can see them just scattered everywhere. It's like almost an afterthought. Like somebody just ran in the room and chucked a wheelbarrow full of coins. Various wheelbarrows full of coins in piles all over the place. And the only other feature besides those chairs that manifested is that column that's at the center, that pedestal, and with this sort of a shaft of light that is illuminating this free-floating book. Very, very thick book.
So this is Rexul's chamber, where he brings all of his gold?
Are you asking the caretaker?
Yes, I am.
The caretaker drifts back down to the bottom level and says, "I don't believe I have the pleasure of your name, sir."
Ender.
Ender. It is a deep honor. And he bows to you. He's towering, by the way. He's very tall.
That's what I
And
wanna mess
he's
with,
also very wide.
So he's got the body type of someone who likes to give piggyback rides?
I mean, he's got, the features of perhaps your companion Auri when she was enlarged by Eli. He's a very large individual. And I apologize, you asked him a question, and I've completely blanked on what you asked him.
I asked him if this was where Rexul brought all of his treasure. If this is all, I guess you could say, all this chamber was.
Yes, this is the private collection of Rexul.
Rexul's collection has been getting larger as of late.
Strange that you would mention that. Yes, Rexul has brought few items here. The packet that your small companion, referred to as one of the various items that Rexul has been bringing to the vault. The vault has contained items for many generations, and very few new additions. But the few items that have been brought here are very fine, very honorable of Rexul to bring the items to this vault.
What was this guy's name again?
He referred to himself as the caretaker.
I'm going to, as genuinely as I possibly can, I'm going to tell the caretaker, Caretaker, I have troubling news for you.
Oh, troubling.
Your master is no more.
My master. I'm not sure I quite understand your meaning, sir.
Rexul.
The dragon, Vrexul.
Yes.
He is gone?
He succumbed to his madness and he fell.
Fell as in dead?
Yes.
That is most unfortunate. Well then, I see no reason why that wouldn't resolve in a reward, if you will. I was aware of Vrexul's madness, of course. It was just a matter of time before some gathering of individuals not unlike yourselves would come along and end him. This is a sad affair, I'm sure, but it's also fortuitous for you and your friends. How would you like to benefit from this? Perhaps
We'd like his belongings.
you yell that out. Where are you, by the way? Are you up top or are you down below?
No, I'm with Ender.
You're with Ender? The belongings. Well, the belongings were not that of Vrexul's. They did not belong to Vrexul. They belonged to the collection. However, with Vrexul gone, the protector of this place, I, as the caretaker, can bestow upon you all, if you wish to do so, you may take a few items from this place. Think of it as a token of appreciation for helping Vrexul shift off the mortal coil, if you will. Would that be agreeable? Let's say you may each take 2 items from this place.
Who owns all these items? Who takes care? Like, you said the collection. Who's in charge of the collection?
Well, I am responsible for cataloging and making sure that the collection is undisturbed. I held the collection in the stead of the great ancient dragon Hrr'aak.
So Hrr'aak owns all of this.
Yes, the collection belongs to Hrr'aak. This is Hrr'aak's vault. Vrexul was Hrr'aak's offspring.
I understand now. I see. Does Vrexul have any children?
To my
Any other
knowledge, there are... And he just sort of furrows his brow, and his spectacles have been kept, like, falling down his nose, and he keeps pushing them up with his pinky finger. Still holding the book, by the way. And he says, well, I am aware that Vrexul had a sibling. I'm not sure where that sibling is, or if that sibling is still alive. I just know that that was it. That was the extent of Hrr'aak's line. Hrr'aak had two offspring, to my knowledge, and that was it. And I'm not aware of any offspring of her offspring. I don't believe Vrexul or Vrexul's sibling had wormlings, if you will.
Eli would like to cast a spell.
What would you like to cast?
Modify memory.
Modify memory? Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Alright.
Charisma save.
Okay. Charisma save. Do. Mana. Do. He rolled a 23.
Then he passes.
He passes. Did you do this, just did this? Or did you try to do this, like, in a way that was...
He was trying to do it in a way...
Subterfuge, if you will. Because if so, I would require a sleight of hand, since you're standing right in front of him.
Yeah, he was trying to do it while Ender is distracting him.
Well, Ender wasn't really distracting him, so...
22.
22, okay. Well, I would say that beats his passive. So he didn't notice that you tried to cast a spell. However, he does appear to have passed it. Whatever you tried to do to him, he just is ignoring you. In the meantime, what are the rest of you all doing?
I'm twirling around in the air, like kind of dancing, like the Haunted Mansion style, just like whoo. Just floating.
I do know exactly what you mean. Okay. So you find the backpack eventually, Zito, after rooting through the various chests and things. Everything seems to have a sense of order. The only thing that seems to be out of place is this backpack.
Am I able to move the backpack, or
It's just resting on a table. It's like it less of a table and more of like the stonework of the floor itself raises up into this long dais, and you can see items that are scattered about on the dais, and then just this backpack just sitting on top, all by itself. It looks like a cloth and leather backpack.
Zito will open the backpack and see what's inside it.
Okay. As you grab the pack and you begin to undo the fasteners, you can see that it appears to be filled with just a hodgepodge of items. It doesn't appear to be like someone's like adventuring pack where you'd see like rations and pythons and things like that. You see like what looks like a couple of small items, one of which resembles a lightning rail car. Another of which appears to resemble a mechanical marmoset. You see a stone that looks sort of familiar to you. You feel like it might be a cleansing stone. You see a gemstone, and you see a much larger dragon shard that is faceted and has like a lattice work that encapsulates it. And you also find a pentagonal shaped folded piece of paper, a letter, which seems to be sealed with a wax seal.
Alright, Zito will take the backpack.
Okay. You're gonna just...
Right.
I will drop that into your inventory, sir. And we'll sort out the items as well later on. There's a lot of items.
I'm gonna talk to the collector, and I'm going to. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was actually completely interrupting yours and Zito's thing.
Zito, do you do anything with the items in the pack at all?
Not right now, no. I'll wait until later.
Sure. All right. In the meantime, I will put the items, Ender, while you continue on. I will be putting the items that were in the backpack into Zito's inventory.
I would like to agree to his terms. Thank him.
Okay.
The complete opposite of what I'm sure Eli wants me to say. I know that there's a conniving like bone in your body, Eli, but unfortunately for me, I don't have. Ender is very agreeable when it comes in terms of payment and services due.
As Lithana is looking around, does she see anything that looks like a child would like?
Be more specific.
Child could play with and not kill themselves?
You don't really see anything in here that appears to be made for like the delight of a small child. This seems to be a collection of weapons and armor and scrolls and wealth, if you will. However, if you were looking in Zito's backpack, you would have seen the toys that were in it. The one that he just picked up. If you were close enough to him, you would have seen him if Zito opened the backpack up wide enough. So, Ender, you have agreed to the terms of the caretaker?
Of course I have, yeah.
Okay.
So in a very I don't know, like humbling way.
All right.
I just got done delivering news. Master had perished. I wasn't going to say who did it either, just that he had succumbed to his own madness.
Okay. Well, he just assumed that you got that you ended Hrr'aak. So he says he looks. It's VHREXXUL. Hrr'aak.
Got it.
And he looks to you after you agree to his terms. He says, "Well, splendid. Well, take all the time that you need, please. The gallery is at your pleasure." Many of the items within this chamber, have been here for a very, very long time.
I'm going to look to my party now, and I'm going to raise up 2 big green fingers and say, only 2. This is a dragon family's collection.
2 each, just 2 items.
2 items.
2 items apiece.
I totally thought it out of
Look
her.
at that big spell book. Or Zeus gonna look at that thick book that's in the. So it was in the center of the room, right?
Yeah, it's on the bottom half. You can see on a podium a shaft of light, which is going up and illuminating this. You don't see where the light source is coming from, but it's illuminating the book at the center of this pedestal.
Zito's gonna look towards the caretakers. Is that book a log of everything that's in here?
Oh no, this would be the log. And he holds up the smaller book in his right hand and shows it to you. And you can see scribbles of some sort. That is
What's that thick book down there?
That is very, very special. There's only a few of those in existence. If I remember the history, it was gifted to the Ebon Mother by the dragon Celestron, before she rebelled and decided to teach druidic magic to the lesser races. I don't quite remember when it was brought to the vault, though. I do know that it has been here for as long as I've been here.
I think I remember what kind of book that is. I'll take that book.
You want to take the book? Do you want a picture of it? I can send you a picture.
Or I'll send a picture.
I'll just share the picture with everyone. It's very.
Sure, this is Zito's first encounter with a book like this.
It's very thick. It looks like this.
Oh, dang.
Zito's just gonna put that in the bag of holding for now. And
Well,
the backpack he has is 2 items.
It's a little higher, like on the pedestal. It's like right there. Like you're not quite tall enough.
Ender, can you give me a
grab
boost? Somebody.
Red will go up to grab him and lift him to the sky.
Okay.
Thank you, Red.
Red, you're going down to pick up Zito to get high enough to reach out and grab it.
Yes. This
Okay.
one will help you achieve your task, Iron Kobold.
And as you begin to reach out, Zito, the caretaker steps back. And the instant you reach out to touch it. And I need you Ender and Red to make Constitution saving throws.
Dude, I'm not even close. I'm on the other side of I'm furthest away from that book. I'm actually up in the air as well.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
My god!
Hang on. I would like you to know I do have an inspiration point.
You do have
I
an
will use it.
inspiration.
It's not a natural one.
It's still
Oh
failed.
lord.
Oh, and 2 Ender. Ender. Can I reach out and give Ender luck?
So as you reach out to touch the yeah, I don't think you have 2, you have 1. You had 1. There you go. I don't think you have any more, Zito, after using that.
Can I counterspell
No, I've been
anything?
using the ticks.
No, this isn't like someone's casting a spell on someone.
Okay.
This is more.
All
This
right.
is a
I can-
spell.
Sorry, guys. I thought I tried.
This is
I
this.
I can re-roll my saving throw, beginning at 9th level, Indomitable.
Okay, go for it. That's a natural 20.
That's
Nice.
Can I borrow that, Ender?
28.
yeah. I passed him my character sheet.
So a Red, an Ender, and Zito.
Cool.
And the instant that you reached out and touched, you breached the light source, Zito, and you caught out just the corner of your eye. The caretaker zipped backwards, far away towards the edge of the topmost section of this place. Like it was a blink of an eye, and he was gone, zipped backwards. And there is this sphere of negative energy that ripples out, and it whacks into Zito and Red and Ender, and you are all racked with pain. Let's see.
Because he did it was a critical success, and he's fine. He's fine.
Zito takes 47 necrotic damage. And is blasted out of your hands, Red, as you take half of that. So we'll round down and say that you took 23. So let's see. We'll say that's you only have 2 temporary hit points left. Ender, you took 23, so you're down 28. And you are all 3 blasted away from this pedestal. Sort of free floating for a moment, and then boom, you land onto the stone surface of the floor. You've got Ender, you've got like coins that like very poorly like cushioned your fall onto the ground, and you all 3 of you are sizzling from this energy, and the light source, this energy source, just sort of ripples out. I was gonna say, where were you, Eli? Weren't you down there too?
I was sneakily behind Ender listening, but behind.
Okay, well then you need to make a save too. I was gonna say,
How
you were...
far? What's the radius?
I'm not gonna tell you that until you tell me. If you were right behind Ender, then you got hit.
Well, I was. I mean, I guess I never declared myself, but
Yeah, you said you were right behind him. Okay, you take
I'm gonna use
40.
luck.
Go for it. All right, you take 47.
Oh my gosh.
Eli is also in a smoking ruin on the ground, a few feet away from Ender. You blink your eyes in pain as you begin to pull yourself up, and you can see now the caretaker is still with his book in his right hand. He's looking and says, "Careful now. Rexur was no fool. I apologize. I should have warned you earlier that there are protections on the book."
I'm gonna raise a 3rd finger and say 3 items.
3 items.
Make a persuasion check.
So you're just gonna do cure wounds at level 5.
Okay.
Can we all help him?
No.
Well, it's worth a shot.
Sorry.
Ah,
That was me being definitely out of character, but I thought it funny.
All right. So the caretaker now zips back to standing next to the podium. Again, like a blink, he's there. And he looks and he reaches down to like help. He takes his book, closes it, and he latches it onto one of the leather straps. And he goes to reach down and help pick each of you up. And he says, "I'm so very sorry. Are you all right?"
just give me 10 minutes in the corner.
Okay. Very well. Very well. So, as was stated before and agreed upon, you may each have 2 items of your choice. We'll say that the pack that your little dragon-kin friend it's not part of the selection process. That's not actually officially part of the collection.
Well, how are we gonna do this, Jeremy? How are we gonna collect items in this place? Are you gonna make us walk around? I demand a map. I demand a map, and I demand some pictures, and I want a whole list of every item in. Just. Oh, you're right. Sorry.
This is how it will work. You will roll a die, and when you walk up to an item, you can tell me what kind of item that you're looking at. You'll roll a die, and then I will tell you what it is. Well, I will describe it to you, and if there is a picture, I will share a picture with you. Eli, you're taking a short rest for the next hour?
Yep.
Okay, keep in mind it will take a full hour, so you're not selecting with everyone else.
I don't know, healing potion?
There are armor pieces, weapons, scrolls, jewelry. You can see what appear to be potion bottles, but they're of a configuration, so many different kinds of configurations, nothing that immediately looks familiar to you. So you're handing out your personal stash, Lithana?
Yes.
Okay.
Who needs it? Lethana? I don't know. Eli and Zito.
The caretaker looks at each of you and says, "My friends, you need not choose immediately. If you wish to bunker down here and rest as long as you need to recover your strength, please, by all means." He's essentially telling you if you would all like to wait here and take a long rest, you may do so.
I don't think that's a good idea.
That's up to you.
Wow, he's still heavy after that.
Yeah, he was hurt real bad.
We're good to sit here for a while.
So yeah, if you just want to take short rests and spend all your hit die back until you can take a short rest, you may do so.
He'll have plenty of spell slots, and I healed him up. You should be.
Oh, thank you, Ari. Now, that book contains all the item information.
The gentleman looks to you and he gestures to the book, which one of the many books that's hanging off of the leather straps on this belt around his waist. He says, "Yes, each one of these books actually contains the information of the items cataloged here."
Could I have a look? Could you hand it to me?
Oh, no, sir. You must understand that this collection is my responsibility, and I cannot allow a mortal to lay hands on this book, or any of them for that matter. You are free to walk around the gallery, or wheel yourself, if you will, to an item and look at it, and if you need assistance in deciphering what it is before you make your decision, I can help you with that as well.
Can you get that book for me?
Ah, you're interested in the grimoire. And he gestures towards the podium. I saw that you attempted to retrieve it before I could warn you. I apologize.
I'll speak to your manager about that later, but can you get that for me now?
Oh no. You, my friend, must claim it for yourself. I cannot bestow it upon you. You must claim it. If you need to take more time to decide and get your strength back, you may do so. Spend as much time as you want here in this place.
As he says that, Ender is taking many steps backwards.
Okay.
Can I cast Identify and see if I can detect any wards around this grimoire?
That's less of a identify, more make a investigation check. If you're trying to determine that. Okay, with a 23, you can see that what you thought was smooth marble, this pedestal, you can see very, very faint etchings all along the column of this pedestal and around the base below where the book is floating. It almost seems as though they're filled with a very faint silvery dust. It's almost like a trick to the eye. You look at it, when you start to look away, you can no longer see the etchings, but they are there, very faint. They appear to be a glyph of some sort. A series of glyphs.
And this is a stone pedestal?
It's looks like a marble. You're not entirely certain what kind of substance it is, but it looks very similar to marble. And it doesn't seem to have a bottom, per se. It seems to be growing out of the floor. In the meantime, what are the rest of you doing? Is Auri still spinning around up top?
I came down to heal them, and I'm just kind of observing now.
Okay.
Eli wants to ask him, what's your rarest wizardry or arcane magic item?
My rarest item would be the grimoire. And he gestures towards the book on the pedestal. Many of the items within this place are various quality and histories behind them. They're all very much powerful, rare, very, very rare things, to be sure. But the grimoire, that is very special. It was sealed by Rexul here long ago. The dragon promised to protect the book for his mother after his twin disappeared during the fall of Hrr'aak.
Guys, do you want to do this? Like I'm chatting in.
Oh, I see what y'all are saying to each other. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to talk to each other, to tell each other, or plan necessarily.
No, we're not gonna kill him. I'm saying is let's, instead of us, let's all have our own time to RP with the collector to work out whatever items you want to grab from the collector. Let's do it by turn order. So let's all roll, and then
let's roll initiative, and whoever. Well, that's how we will distribute. I totally agree with that. Yeah, go ahead and roll initiative, and
not
we will.
Initiative though.
No, I know what you mean. You guys are rolling initiative to determine the item selection. I am so sorry, Auri.
Alright, guys, I'll go last.
Wow, we all rolled 12s.
Who has the highest dex?
Ender hasn't rolled yet. Let him roll.
Oh!
All right. So
That shouldn't be initiative. It should be a plain D20.
Who has the highest dex?
I'll tell you what. I did the initiative just to see who would go first. Now you guys need to roll just straight d20s. I apologize.
What?
It makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, because it's given, like, based on your characters, it's essentially giving you guys an unfair advantage of your initiative bonuses, if you will.
Yep. That's what I was
Alright.
going to suggest.
So, in that case, Auri, you go first.
I go first?
You rolled an 18.
Okay.
You get to select. You get to select first. So
I know a lot about items in this game.
well, so my question to you is, what looks interesting to Auri? Would an item that is not armor and not a weapon, but potentially useful, be interesting to her? Or a piece of armor be interesting? Or a weapon? Or a scroll? Or a potion?
Cool.
Or a piece of jewelry. You do see boxes, which potentially you see these crystal boxes that are filled with rings, various types of rings that are scattered on one of these stone pedestals.
Would like a headdress be considered jewelry? Like
something that you can wear. You don't necessarily see any like headwear, if you will. Mostly you're just seeing like in terms of like wearable items that are not armor, you're seeing the rings. And close to the rings, you're also seeing some sort of a strange, lumpy piece of stone with gemstones jutting out of it at various angles. And besides the bottles of what you assume are potion bottles, you also see just a jar with some sort of substance inside of it. And beyond that, you see a bottle which is bigger than the other potion bottles, which are clear and have different colored liquids in them. But this one is a solid surface with various strange painted, almost like painted glass. You don't see what's inside of it, and it's stoppered on top. And you also see what it looks like a very fine-looking gold and platinum filigree jewelry box next to all of the other ring boxes.
Shoot.
Would you like to wait and decide later?
I would. I just don't know anything about the items in this game, unfortunately.
Oh, that's okay. Well, this is more of like a, you select, and that's going to be your selection. And then I tell you what it is, basically. Like the caretaker tells you what it is once you select an item.
Okay, sure. The jewelry box then.
Okay. The jewelry box has a latch on it, a catch, but it is not locked. And when you open it up, it has more items inside of it. You see several gemstones, another prism-like gem, and a clear glass-like orb resting on what appears to be velvet or satin pillow. And the caretaker sees you reaching out and grabbing the box and says, "Will that be your choice?"
Oh, it's beautiful.
I haven't categorized that one yet. If you want the box, you can have it. Is there anything inside of it?
There's some gems inside here.
Oh, well, then I'm afraid you'll have to make a choice then of one of the objects inside of it. If there is more than one item in there, I haven't had a chance to decipher and understand what's in it. I haven't looked at... In fact, I'm not sure where that box came from. And he starts to float up towards you.
Just hold it open for him to look inside.
And he looks inside and he says, oh, well, yes. And he reaches in and picks the prism-like gemstone, and he gestures to the other gemstones and says, those are just your typical gemstones of various value, but this item in particular is very, very special, and so is this one. And he gestures towards the orb, the crystal ball.
Okay.
So my question to you is, which one were you interested in? And he begins to sort of gesture with his free right arm towards each one of them as you hold the box out to him.
I'll do the crystal orb.
The orb. You have a very good eye, my dear. That will be your first item. And he passes the item over to you. Would you like me to identify it for you now, or would you like to wait?
Now, sure.
Okay. It looks like a typical crystal ball. It's about 6 inches in diameter. This one is very, very special, though. This one allows you to cast the spell Scrying.
Cool.
And I will put that in your inventory. That is your first item. Would you like to pick your second item now, or allow the next person to choose?
I think I'll let the next person choose.
Okay. Well, you can leave the box on the table, which is still open.
Yeah, I'll set it down open.
All right. So I believe it was both Red and Eli and Zito. You guys each tied on your rolls.
No, it's under 16.
Oh, that's right. It is under. Ender, what would you like to... what are you interested in? A weapon? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to be holding my Hoard banner and shouting, Zug Zug.
Okay. You see a couple of weapons that look very, very crazy looking. You see what appears to be a greatsword. Huge greatsword, and where the handle is and the pommel, you can see carvings of skulls on it with red gemstones floating in the mouths like they're screaming. You also see what appears to be a scimitar, which is coated in this the scabbard of which is coated in this platinum thread, and you can see various lightning bolts, what appear to be lightning bolts that scatter across the surface of which. And you also see what appears to be a katana.
Oh, well, that's an easy choice. Come on. The huge great sword! No, I'm just kidding. Tell me more about the katana.
You want the katana?
I want to learn more about the katana.
Okay.
Is he going to choose it before I know what it is? I understand if he does. I'm gonna pick up the katana if he allows me, and feel it out.
It looks now again. It looks like your typical katana in shape, but the bladed edge is a bit. It's not completely straight, and the base of it, near the handle, you can see these curving spikes on either side where the guard is. Instead of your typical square-shaped guard of a katana, there are these accented areas that poke out. At the very bottom of the pommel of the hilt, you can see 2 more spikes that stick out in various edges. And the caretaker looks at you and says, that is a very wonderful item, sir. And this is what it looks like.
like it. I like that a lot. I'll choose this for one of my items.
You gonna choose that one?
Yep, and then I will pass my last item. I'll skip it and let the next person pick.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're not gonna have enough time for everyone to pick items.
No worries. I'm gonna put this in your inventory. This is a long sword of sharpness, or a katana of sharpness.
Cool. Don't mind if we flavor it.
Yep. I don't mind at all. You can call it a katana of sharpness. It is a wickedly sharp blade. And let's see. Okay. So, Red, Eli, Zito, I need each of you to roll another d20. Okay. Red, it's your turn next. Were you interested in weapons, armor?
I think Red would want to be looking for like some kind of other item, like something to help her non-combat skills.
Okay. So not a weapon.
No weapons.
Okay.
I just got a magic sword from the Iron Kobold.
Oh, that's true.
What if I just threw it and was like, screw this sword?
I mean, that's also your your prerogative. There's a couple other swords. There's a really big greatsword with skulls all over it, staring right at you. There's also some armor. It looks like a couple pieces of armor there.
I'm gonna go look at the skull greatsword.
Okay, would you like to see what it looks like?
Yeah, I want to see what it looks like.
Okay. It looks like this.
Oh, that looks pretty darn cool. I mean, I could have 2 greatswords.
That's true.
Ah, screw it. I'll take it.
You'll take it? Okay. The caretaker, he flips through the pages and he looks to you and he says, "Ah, very, very nice indeed. This is known as the Great Sword of 9 Lives Stealer." And I will put that in your inventory, therefore you can read it at your leisure.
Nice.
Okay. Let's see. Zito and Eli, you guys can Rochambeau if you want. Or you can roll d20s again.
Go ahead, Eli.
I mean, we're let Zito go. Let Zito go first.
Zito, go ahead.
Alright, well, first, Zito's gonna use his transmuter skill to see if he can break those glyphs in the column.
Okay, how's that work?
It's just a class ability from being a transmuter wizard.
Okay, well, make a Arcana check.
Do you want to help me out, Eli?
Yes, can I help him for advantage?
If you're assisting him, sure.
Alright.
Alrighty. There are sparks of light that seem to emanate from the various carvings that are hard to see on the podium. But the shaft of light continues on. It does not disappear. After you take out your tools and you begin to study it and look for ways of some sort of a weakness in this glyph, whatever it may be. But you get a feeling that you might be able to dispel it.
So do I dispel magic?
You're
No,
gonna
but
cast,
I'm pretty sure Eli does.
you guys are going to cast Dispel Magic on it?
Do you have dispel magic, Eli?
Yes. Oh, now Magic Man is wanted. He looked at Red. Walks over. He does a little like dance, acting like this is how he has to cast it, and then he reaches out and casts it at a 5th level. Dispel magic.
Okay. The glyphs begin to light up immediately, and then they fizzle out, and the shaft of light is gone. Book is still free floating there.
Zito's gonna nervously reach out and touch the book.
Wait!
Zito, you
Too late.
you can will Zito willing himself up to the height of the book now, realizing he could have done that earlier without the help of Red, reaches out and grabs the book, which is nearly the size of his torso, and it is in your possession. The moment that you do that, you hear
I explode.
the sound of the individual, this caretaker who has been leading you through the various items and talking to you, starts to chuckle. Oh, I was wondering when you would do something like that. Very good. Very good indeed. You do realize that I cannot allow you to leave with that item. Boys! And as you begin looking around the chamber from the outside of this hamburger bun free-floating top and bottom space, passing through the spinning Dyson sphere lattice work which is outside of which, you see strange creatures willing themselves forward into the chamber. You see smaller four-legged creatures that rush forth, and they have these slathering tongues that emerge forth from their bodies. And the other creatures, they resemble what appear to be some sort of an insect-like creature holding glowing tridents with glowing orangish red eyes. And the first creatures look like this.
What if I put the book back?
The other creatures look like this. You can see this thorny shaped tongue emerges from this cylindrical mouth full of jagged teeth, and the tongue comes out impossibly long. These creatures that are willing themselves closer and closer to each of you. And the caretaker says, "You're coming with me." And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Oh, heck.
I can't just put the book back.
Hey, you guys want to hear something funny?
Yes.
Okay, this is the sound effect for Auri's Wild Shape. I don't know if that went
Lots
through.
of roars.
Hey, Jeremy, you don't mind if I sit here and play a game while we all do this, right? You're totally all right. I mean, I won't RP and I won't do any combat or anything, and it's like I'll just be here in spirit. You're fine, right?
I mean, until I call upon you.
I'm just teasing. So
We can totally kill off his character then. Yeah! Kill Leonard! Kill Leonard!
Whoa.
So Ender's not going in the vault. Is that what you're telling me? Okay.
No,
Okay, so
it's more like he gives his character to us to roleplay. Like, you must give a one member sacrifice. Oh yeah, it's Ender. Yeah. He totally volunteers.
So in theory, let's talk about if it's doable. I'm sitting here playing this game right now. Just started. Don't worry, Jeremy. I just started it just now, and I'm trying to talk and play at the same time, and it's impossible.
Oh yeah, when you're
cool.
when you're like involved in something that you're really into, oh yeah, it's totally impossible to do two
Have you
things
heard of
at
this
once.
game?
What's
Have
it
you ever
called?
played the old Castlevania?
Oh yeah.
This game's called Bloodstained.
I was
sitting here.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say I just got the controller scheme to work, and I just booted it for the first the first time with it working.
The last
I'm spending
Castlevania that I played was the one where you played as a werewolf on the Nintendo 64.
That one's really bad.
Yeah. I kind of lost my taste for the Castlevania series after that.